Hello and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel review. This time I'm here with set 76171, Miles Morales Mech Armour. It was released on the 1st of January 2021, has 125 pieces and is rated ages 7 plus and comes with one minifig, as you'll see there. Of course, is Miles Morales. This set retails at around €9.83 in euros, €8.99 in pounds and $9.99 in dollars. Miles Morales Mech is one of the 3 mechs released at the start of 2021. It includes an exclusive Miles Morales minifigure and goes well with the release of Marvel's Miles Morales game for the PS5. However, the LiQWYD description states that you can recreate the movie scenes, suggesting that this Miles is actually based off of the Into the Spider-Verse movie. A cheap way for kids or adults to obtain Miles Morales, or a nice cheap set for kids to get their first LEGO experience with downloadable digital instructions and a small piece count and high playability. This is kind of perfect for that kind of age group, just to kind of start off because it's easy to make. And it's a small set to have fun with. It doesn't cost much if you want to try it out, and you can test if you like Lego or not. Maybe, it is a mech, so there's like little pieces in it, like see all these joints and stuff wouldn't typically be in a lot of Lego sets. But it is still a nice kind of way to get the Miles Morales figure as well. On now to the back of the box, we have no boxes at the back to say what playability it has, because it literally only has the fact that Miles can sit in it or not, has full posability, and also then has a few electro webs around it that can click onto the mech. And if you don't want to click them onto the mech, Miles Morales minifigure can actually use them. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell you about the front of the box and about the set, so let's get straight on to the review. So here we have the overview of the set. You can see there we have, of course, the mech in the background, the one minifigure. We have a bit of electro web handcuffs here, which is definitely nice there, interesting to see. We have this thing that Miles can hold to attach his web to him, like that, which is nice little feature there to have on there, definitely good for playability. And also then we have this thing that can either go in Miles's hand or his mech's hand, so I'll show you all that in 2 minutes. But yeah, that's all we get in the overview. Let's get on to the minifig. So here we have the Miles Morales minifig. Now it's a beautiful figure, and to be honest, I think this is a new piece here. I think so, the hood piece here. Definitely nice to see. It goes really well, of course, with the red hoodie, which has printing on the back there. I'll get into that now in 1 second. But the hood definitely is very nice. You can move it to the side if you want, you don't have to, but you can move it to the side if you want it maybe to look a bit more dark or something like that, which is cool. You've actually full maneuverability on this one, which you don't get on many of the other hoods, or if any of the other hoods. So that's definitely a nice improvement, and to be honest, I hope they will consider using this piece a lot more now as well. But anyway, onto the head, we can see a nice little bit of printing, simple bit of printing, but nice. I mean, you can see the outline there, the red outline of his eyes, the white spider web kind of detail on his face, and the kind of Matt's copybook checkers on the back of his head there. Just to kind of make it look a little bit more like the Spiderman mask. Kind of weird that they'd have the back of the head printed when they know they're going to use a hood, but sure, look, it's nice again to see a little bit more detail gone into it. The red hoodie is nice, and it goes down the whole way then onto the torso you can see the lighter color strings there, and the zip is in silver, which is nice. Underneath that you'll see Miles's spider suit, which is really nice. There's a nice bit of detail gone in there. Again, simple but effective. And then going down you will see the kind of casual sweatpants or whatever they have, the dual molded legs, which are definitely really nice to show the kind of black boots there. Kind of a very smooth texture to it as well. But yeah, on the back then you will see that there's his logo and a little bit of detail just to kind of show that it's a fabric, because it is a hoodie, of course. Definitely a beautiful minifigure, and probably the reason a lot of people would buy this set. It's definitely the only reason I bought this set. Of course, then being pleasantly surprised by the mech and the attachments with it, I was definitely happy, but at the same time I probably won't be using an awful lot of it, and I'll probably just display this minifigure on his own. Now he comes with, as I said, this little thing so he can hold on to that giant web, the electro web that he had there. So it slots into his hand like that, with a little clear piece on this side, so you know it looks nice. And then you just simply slot this in, and because it's so heavy, he obviously will have to be placed in a certain way that the web is hitting the ground. But it's definitely a nice little attachment to have on there, because the electro webs, I mean, you can shorten it if you want. You can take that off and then take off this part, and maybe you shorten it there a little bit if you want to kind of point it up the way then, and kind of, you know, angle him right so that he stays kind of like that maybe. So there's ways around it being so long and heavy. You can just change it up there yourself, and they give you all the pieces there to do that. So that's definitely nice. But for the most part, I'd say people will be using it for the mech, which we'll get on to now. I just want to show you the electric handcuffs there, the electro web handcuffs. And they just kind of slot in there. He holds onto it on this side here. He kind of just holds onto a little thing in the middle. That side then is completely hollow, so it comes up and down. But you can just kind of, you know, pretend that someone is locked up in them like that, which is definitely a nice little play feature there. Again, something I probably won't be using myself, but for kids, it's definitely a nice addition. Moving on now to the mech, we see there's not an awful lot of pieces in it, so there's not probably an awful lot I can say about it. It's a nice looking thing, to be honest. You know, it does, I think, look a little bit like Dr. Eggman from Sonic once you get to this kind of area, because it kind of jolts out a lot here. Maybe I can kind of show you what I mean if I raise the hands there a little bit. Yeah, you see there, it kind of does look like an Eggman suit there from the side. But to be honest, I don't think you'll really care if you're the age for playing with it, because, you know, you'll be just moving it around the whole time and it won't really matter to you that much. So that's something that can be overlooked. I think the hands are nice, it looks nice, and you'll see the little clip on the inside there is for the electro web that I was talking about earlier. So you can hold it like that, and of course the mech is a lot stronger, so he doesn't need to be propped up with it. He can just kind of hold it, and he can hold it in any kind of orientation he wants. Of course, if you don't knock it out by putting down his fingers and knocking it out of his hand, you can kind of do whatever you want with it, you know. He does kind of stand fairly easily, you know, if you kind of mess around with him, you can get him to stand up. It doesn't take that much for it to happen, but if you want to specifically pose him, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because as soon as you grab on here, you're accidentally hitting against this, and you're trying to move this, and you put it down, you pull it off. I mean, to like, especially from my hands, which might be bigger than kids' hands, in fairness, it would be kind of more difficult to pose properly. Like, I tried to pose in the exact same way on the back of the box, and it was just, I'm not going to get that specific posing on it, so I just, you know, did the best I can. Otherwise, there is still a good amount of posability in it, like, you know, high five. But there is, as I said, a lot of posability in it, and that's a good thing. You'll also see then there's a little bit of a shield on the back of his hand, electro web shield, which is nice to see. But there's not really an awful lot I can say, to be honest, about it. On the back there, you'll see that there's a few electro webs here. I think whenever you put these up, and these are supposed to be his shoulders, so they're supposed to be pointing up, this might be the webbing between his arm and side here. Like Spider-Woman kind of has those kind of webs going across to make her glide a little bit. I think this is kind of emulating the same thing. So yeah, that is what it is there as well. But yeah, it's a fairly simple enough thing, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it now. The electro web handcuffs actually clip on to the back here, so they're nice and out of the way, and also not going to get lost, which is nice there. And if you open up the front part here, it doesn't open up the full way, so don't try and push it, or else it'll just come off altogether. But if you open it up, you'll see that there's a little kind of thing that the legs slot in, and it slots in between the legs there, so it keeps Miles in place. And then you can kind of close that up to keep him kind of secured in there. So that's definitely nice. It doesn't have a clip on the other side of the hand, so one has to be kind of a shield, and one has to be kind of a sword, if you know what I mean, or the actual like attack hand. So yeah, it's definitely a nice little set for playability. It's a very cheap set, so just to get the figure, it's a nice and easy way for that to happen. And if you wanted to get the set just for, you know, a very small present, you didn't have a lot of money, that's another great thing about this set. That's something you can do with it. And if you wanted to get the set for someone who's not really played with Lego before, it's also a nice kind of start up to that. It kind of has a good mix between Technic, kind of little balls here and stuff, and clips, and bricks then for the feet and for around the arms and stuff. So it's a nice little kind of start-up set, and a nice little small gift for any kid that is into Marvel. Also for the more collectors, the older people, it is definitely a nice easy way to get Miles, because I don't think we've seen him in any other set, but I don't think he'll be in an awful lot more sets. I could be wrong, but yeah, definitely a nice little playable set, but I wouldn't really get it if you were a collector. It does include the exclusive Miles Morales minifigure, and that might be something that you want as a collector, or if you're into Marvel, or if you're into the PlayStation games or Spider-Man. It's definitely something that is kind of needed, I suppose, if you are collecting the Spider-Verse figures as well. So yeah, that's my conclusion. Thanks a million for watching my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below if you think there's anything that needs to be said. Thanks a million, guys. See you again. Take care.